Yo, what's going on, boys? It's the holidays. You already know what we doing around this time of year because shit is wild. Okay. We've done this once before. It was probably the most ridiculous fucking intro I ever had, but hey, in the honor of the season and 420, we just like to toke up. That's all we're that's all it's about, okay? So, let's do that. And if you want to join, come join. If not, it's cool. But yeah. So, here we go. Let me do this really fast. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay, I don't think it was as crazy where I was all over the place the first time I did it. But yeah, that's the intro for you, ladies and gentlemen. So let's jump into today's topic. So today we are talking about a certain class of drugs. That's right, you see it in the title. Deliriants, bro. Okay, so more reasons as to why you should try them. Before we jump into that, though, subscribe if you want to see a certain type of video. Leave a comment, like the video, all that bullshit. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the first thing is we have to establish what a deliriant is, because some of you might not have any clue. So basically, deliriants are a class of drugs that have hallucinogenic properties. Now, that might sound nice to some of you people, but understand this is not anything like acid or any of the normal psychedelics or dissociatives for that matter. The thing with deliriants, they aren't really desirable. Most people don't really feel good on them, and they generally feel like something is wrong, kind of like a bad trip, but kind of more like a nightmare, depending on what you take and, the dose. But the types of hallucinations that happen are far different than your psychedelics. You are basically seeing shit that isn't really there. And some examples of this include, like, people see bugs, spiders, fake cigarettes, the phantom cigarettes or whatever, the shadow people. Just some weird ass shit can happen, and it freaks people out. And because one second they're they feel normal, the next second these hallucinations are there, and the next second they're gone, and they couldn't even tell if these hallucinations were hallucinations. I think that's actually probably the most frightening part. What's real, what's not, to a lot of people. But there's other effects that come with it, and it's just mostly delirium. But some examples of this, and before you decide to try anything, I highly don't recommend it, unless under certain circumstances, which I guess I can explain a little bit. But just don't go and try this to try it and get a cheap high, because pretty much guaranteed, it's gonna be some shit. But there can be some serious health risks to these as well. People end up in the hospital because of these drugs. So really, just don't go and try these, for the sake of trying it. But anyway, some examples that I just know, and some I've actually tried. I haven't tried all of these in this list, but Benadryl, Datura, Nutmeg, Salvia. And I've only actually tried Benadryl and Datura, and I know there's more beyond this list, but these are kind of like the main ones that people do think of. And some people could argue Salvia is kind of more of a traditional psychedelic, since it does have kind of a more safer profile than some of these other Deliriants, but the state of mind Salvia gives you is so unique that it could be classed as a Deliriant, especially since a lot of people don't really enjoy Salvia. But, so, if that's the case, people don't like them, why even try them? Now, there might be some people that will scold me for even suggesting, like, trying Deliriants, because Deliriants, as I just explained, they're not for fun, they're not really recreational, they can be dangerous, and just a lot of negatives that weigh out much of the positives. But if you look at some of the positives, it might lead you down the road into, coming across one of these drugs. And the positives, I guess, would vary from drug to drug. For example, like Salvia versus Benadryl, for example. Salvia, I mean, that's kind of more of a spiritual thing. I guess psychedelic more, even though most experiences that do come from Salvia tend to be more delirious, and that's why it's considered more of a deliriant type of drug, since it's very unique. But what's the reasoning for trying some of these fucking drugs? Why should we even consider trying some of these drugs? And beyond the normal medicinal uses, I mean, these are anti-chlorogenics, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically, they basically can be prescribed for something like seasickness or some nausea, whatever. They'll generally be prescribed because of that. And what's some reasons other than that? Like, what would be a good reason to try a more recreational dose, though? Because just to get that, for example, the nausea beating side effect you desire, you only need a little bit, not enough to make you hallucinate, basically trip. So what are some of the benefits, or why should you trip? Well, here is my reasoning. Now, a little pharmacology, I guess, is thrown into this, and I'll try to keep it as simple as possible here. Now, not all Deliriants are considered these, but they are muscarinic acetylcholine receptors that are being antagonized, and that's basically what causes the trip to take place. There are other receptors, for example, like Salvia, I believe, binds to the kappa opioid receptors. But what I'm getting at here is you're really not going to antagonize, I should say, any of these receptors just randomly, in your everyday life. You're not just really they're not just going to be agonized, either way. So these drugs, they cause, a reaction to happen, and that causes the trip to go down. Now, why would this, be a positive or whatnot? And it's simply to explore the mind. Without these, these drugs and this experience, it's kind of like you're opening a doorway to an experience, to ideas, and there's a name for these types of people who specifically explore psychoactive drugs for this reason, and those are the psychonauts. Would I consider myself one? I guess I would consider myself one, with some of the intent I had when using, and I guess it does, in my experience at least, kind of open my mind. Now, on the side, in my kind of my personal hobbies and stuff, I enjoy to write like stories and stuff like that, and I would agree that this has helped me kind of open up my mind to new ideas and other pathways to explore that I could implement into my writing, just due to the experiences that these drugs have brought on, and that can definitely be considered a positive thing. And this can go for other types of art, not just painting, of course, drawing, stuff like that, all different types of stuff, especially in the arts, that could be replicated from trips and brought into this reality, I suppose. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool, and I guess you can say creativity enhancement. So I guess that is my reason, because a traditional psychonaut, they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, I understand that this might be stupid, but I want to see what's there. I want to explore the mind, and I want to learn or whatever. And I know there's people like this out there, other than me, but yeah, I think there's potential into doing this type of research, but on your own, it depends on a lot of factors, is all I'm going to say. But I don't really recommend for any of you to try it, any of these deliriants, because they're dangerous, they're not fun, and yeah, there's really nothing to be found if you're looking for a high. So I would just stay away from them for that factor alone. But so with that all being said, yeah, Deliriants, not my my cup of tea, of course, but there are reasons to possibly give it a go, as I explained. But yeah, if you have any experiences with Deliriants, or you want me to talk more about these drugs, leave in the comments below, whatever. Give the video a like. I would appreciate that. That helps us out. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. That helps your boy out. But with that all being said, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.